The recipe that most reflects my life, I can't sing other than rendang. Beef, beef, beef. Let me see whether it's rendang is here. Yes, the rendang is in here. I'm the first person who writes a book on Indonesian cooking in English. This memory started when I was 4 years old, and I'm watching my grandmother cooking about 20 kilos of buffalo meat in her huge, huge wok. You've never seen a wok as big as that. When I was only 4 years old, I tried to reach a rendang in that wok because I want to taste it and got burned very badly. So I said to myself, I will always make her recipe for rendang. You cut this beef against the grain. This is brisket, and cutting for rendang, it's bigger cube than normally. And this is the original rendang that people cook for family celebration. This is to make the paste to cook the rendang. Now, very few ingredients, because my grandmother didn't use very much, so she used only shallot and some garlic. And this is galangal and ginger. You just chop it up very, very fine. And then turmeric. 1964, when we arrived in this country, in the height of winter, and what you have is not even a fresh chili like that, let alone fresh galangal and fresh turmeric. Everything is powdered. So I have to go to Amsterdam or Rotterdam or Den Haag to buy all these ingredients for my Indonesian cooking. Now this will make your pan yellow, this fresh turmeric, but fresh turmeric tastes completely different from powdered turmeric. I can't grow it in this country. I try hard, but you can't. When I came here, there is no Indonesian restaurant, and I'm the first person who writes a book on Indonesian cooking in English. This is my first book, the home book of Indonesian cookery. Cookery book is very, very rare in Indonesia. Those recipes is never written down. So we only got the recipe, as I did get my recipes from my mother, who wrote it from word of mouth from my grandmother. I'm also the first cookbook writer that introduced rendang to United States. So that's why I'm very, very attached to this recipe of rendang. The bigger the chilies is, the less heat in it. So if you use small chilies, the bird's eye chilies, that's very, very hot. And you never use that chili for rendang. Always the big chilies. And that's it. And then you blend it with the coconut milk. I put just half of that. Right. Possible. Now the lemongrass and the galangal, both whole, because you take them out before serving. And you put the rest of the coconut milk. The coconut milk will make the meat that you cook a little more tender, especially for rendang. Of course, you cook it for a long time. And one other ingredient that I haven't put before, and this is kaffir lime leaf. If you don't have this, you can use bay leaf. I'm adding salt, just a little teaspoon. Cook this on a high heat until it bubbles, but leave it alone for at least an hour, and you cook it for between 2 and 3 hours. While there's still so much liquid, it won't burn. This is boiling. That one thing about rendang is the only process of cooking that I know of that you start by boiling it and end by frying it, because the coconut milk produces oil. So you have a crisp outside and a tender inside. When cooking with coconut milk, you don't cover the pan. When it is bubbling like this, don't be tempted to stir it. Actually, the coconut milk and the spices there are cooking the meat. That's why people don't cook rendang that often. It's spitting like that, and it's very, very hard work to clean it. This is when it's become kalio already, and this is already very edible. It looks like a curry, don't you think? You stir this kalio to become rendang, and that is the time when you really need to stir it almost all the time so you don't get a burned rendang. I would like to put it in a wok because in a wok you have more control in stirring it so that there is no burnt part underneath. I have this wok since I got married almost 56 years ago. Our wedding anniversary will be on the 3rd, the 4th and the 5th of August. That's being our wedding lasted 3 days and 3 nights. This is Sri Owen's Indonesian Food, published by Pavilion. I remember the exact moment when I began to pay attention to food and notice what I was eating. An early life spent mostly in small town, settled and peaceful at first, then disrupted by war. My life story and my development as a cook are interwoven in these early years, especially with the story of my country. I don't know that I can read, I can write that, but I'm sure the English was corrected by Roger. But that was exactly how I felt. If you want to make a good rendang, you have to be patient. And this wok, in fact, I've used it almost every day for the last 56 years. You know, it can last until my age. I'm 83. So I can't count now how many times I made the rendang. This is now rendang, ready to be eaten with plain boiled rice or sticky rice. The rice book is my favorite book. Roger came for the research trip. Somehow the rice farmers, the rice traders even, they're all very, very nice. I make rendang all the time now. And I always have some in my freezer because rendang can keep very well. So the rice will be in a bowl, the rendang will be in a big plate in front of you, and my grandmother would ask everybody to serve himself. I've moved to a care home now, so it's very, very sad, and every time I come here I just want to burst into tears. This is the kitchen I love, and of course I can't make rendang in the home because it takes so long. That was very sad. It was all this work, very good. Almost as good as my grandmother's rendang, in fact. So I'm very pleased.